welcome. Thank you for joining me today. How's it going?
Morning, Austin. How are you? Doing good.
Doing good. A lot better. I know at our SKO, my voice was not all there, and now this week, now that we're back, I'm noticing a lot of my teammates' voices aren't there. So, maybe raise my hand as the culprit. No pun intended on that one. But yeah, everything is good, and I'm excited to be back, and really excited for our conversation today. I know we've never had you on the podcast before. So yeah, again, thanks for joining.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, and with all the excitement and the buzz about everything last week at SKO, I'm looking forward to kind of getting this out to our audience.
Yeah, me too. We've got a lot of good topics today. Going to talk about managed services. Going to talk about you obviously what your team does, and just a ton of other great stuff. But before we dive into that, do you mind spending a few seconds and kind of telling people who you are, your role, what you do at Inflow?
Not a problem. So, my name's Tommy Mullins. I am located in Seattle, Washington. I've been with InflowCX now approaching 7 years. Joined the team a long time ago as a project manager and just kind of continued to put myself into really good positions, leading teams, leading complex solutions for our customers, and really excited where the growth has been over the last couple of years with InflowCX.
Wow, great. Yeah, VP of Service Delivery. That's a really good journey from PM to now managing people who manage PM. So that's great. And yeah, it's been really great even in my roughly 2 years here to see the evolution of your team, you and the company. Really enjoy working with you.
You guys as well. It's been a really good journey. I think that your journey as well has put us a lot of success, and sometimes sales and operations don't always mix well, and I think that we have a very good cadence of working well together and delivering good solutions. And it takes a good leader like yourself as well. So I appreciate you too, Austin.
We do. We'll at least have a good cadence for this next 20 to 30 minutes. We won't pull the curtain back too much for the audience, but no, I agree. We do have a really good good camaraderie, and we're solution focused is what I think it boils down to. And it's a big driver in what I want to talk about today. So a big change on the operations service delivery team is our new managed service offerings. Can you spend some time and talk to us about sort of that evolution, right? One of our themes this year is evolve, and we've had managed services for a long time on multiple different product lines, but very recently we made a lot of big changes. Can you maybe talk about the history of our managed services, what's changed, and why we've made some of those changes?
Yeah, not a problem. So when I joined, we've always been providing managed services, but that's evolved over the years. And primarily, if you back up about, let's call it 5 years ago, we really focused on managed services and creating it as its own department. And prior to those 5 years, we had folks wearing multiple hats. We had folks that were, out at installations and then coming back, ending their day providing managed services. And we just realized we couldn't sustain that. And so we really invested into that team, and we put managers and a director in place. And a couple years after that, we developed what was called team of teams. And so we had folks that were really focused on specific customers. And we broke those teams up by customer base so that when our customers called in, they kind of got that nice cadence with the managed services team, and they got a really good familiarity with the system rather than just randomly picking up the phone every single time and talking to a new customer. And we realized that as our cloud solution grew, and what we were doing at the time was primarily focused on a heavy amount of premise-based customers. I think at the time we had close to 500 or 600 customers that were premise-based customers. And as the cloud category continued to grow, we just knew that we needed to do something different. I would say probably in the last 18 months, we've had not only customers, but some of our manufacturers come to us and say, hey, have you guys thought about scaling a little different for cloud? And we said, it's funny you say that. We know that we've needed to do something like that. And so in like the last year or so, we've really focused on how we can provide a scalable managed services department for growth,
Mm-hmm.
and longevity based off of what I would say our UC and CC needs for our customers. And so we did a complete overhaul. It took us about 6 months. And to achieve success, we really needed to look at a lot of different categories. We looked at our existing resources, we looked at our team leads and what they could provide, and we had to really redefine what support meant for our customers. And so we went out to the market for our customer base and said, what are we really not doing for you guys that provides value? And there's a big difference between prem and cloud, right? You don't have a server
Yeah.
that's sitting in a room any longer, right? You have something that's being hosted. And so you have additional resources that can help. And so customers got just as smart, and some of them got smarter than we were at some point. And we said, well, we have to be able to provide value. We can't have all of our customers being able to say, hey, I can't lean on Inflow anymore. I don't see the value that's there. So we had to make those enhancements. And so we really peeled the onion back. We took a look at what we needed to do. We took a long, hard look in our face and said, what can we do that's cost effective, that provides value so that folks aren't saying, Inflow, I really appreciate it. I've been your Prem managed services customer for years, but I'm just going to go direct. And we've had some of those customers do that, but I feel like a lot of them are coming back now.
Oh yeah. On on the managed service offering specifically, Tommy, I know a lot of people, probably everyone actually, when they hear managed services or support, they think of help desk, and that's definitely part of it. And I know our offering has changed there a little bit to provide some additional enhancements that weren't all there for customers. But I know some of the other changes that we made have really been on, sort of insights, and that's a really big piece of our managed service offering. Can you talk about how our managed services is more than just a help desk, and what really that insights piece is doing, not just for your IT department and your in your contact center or in your business, but what it's doing for everybody else?
Yep. No, great question. In fact, we heard a lot from customers that said, "Hey, if you guys are just break fix, I don't need you," right?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we developed our new packages. And as companies have really embraced CX technologies, I feel like a lot of companies have fallen short on realizing what that value is for the customer and the investment that they've made to service engagement models, right? And so we, again, needed to modernize what we needed to do. And so you hit the nail on the head there, Austin, is we had to look at what other value we needed to bring. And so we really look at it in really three pillars. And I know you brought up insights, but I'll talk a little bit of our three core pillars
Yeah.
of what we wanted to offer for features. And the first one was administration, right? People come and go. We need to administer your system. People hire people. People moved on to other jobs. But we wanted to make sure that the customers felt really comfortable the way that we administer their system. So if you come over to us now, we do a very good technical onboarding. And so what that means is we take a look at your system, we document everything, we put it into our internal CRM so that everybody across the organization has a good understanding of what's going on there. That team that when you do call into managed services is a dedicated cloud team, which we're 24/7 here, right? We have open hours, but we are 24/7 for a lot full after hours. And also part of administration is we open a ticket and we often are seen as just a middleman. And we don't want to be just a middleman. We want to provide value there. So one of the overlaying things that we put in there is what we call incident response management, which
Mhm.
allows us to escalate and communicate system level issues to the manufacturer at a level that I don't think the customer would be able to. And what I mean by that is our operational leadership has worked really hard over the last few years of aligning ourselves at the manufacturer level at those operational levels. So in the event that we have a customer that's got an issue that we can't resolve, we can be able to pick up the phone, shoot a quick email to off to somebody over there at a higher level operationally, and say, hey, if Inflow's calling in or it has a case so it's been open for a period of time, it's got to be pretty serious. And so
Yeah.
that kind of differentiates us from a client that wants to go direct. And I would also say it probably differentiates us a lot of from even our competitors of the way that we've put our and positioned ourselves operationally. The other thing that a lot of people say is, hey, this is a new system. I've been on my prem system for a long period of time. How do I administer this quickly? And we said, okay, well, we don't want to nickel and dime you every single time that you call in. You're not a prem system. We want to provide you free moves, adds, and changes. And I know that that's something that absolutely customers' ears perk up when they hear that. And it's true.
Yeah.
What we want to be able to do is for you to be able to leverage InflowCX and say, Hey, we just hired 10 new employees. Hey, we just acquired a company that's got 50 employees. Can you help me assign these users to queues? Can you help me blow in some of these users that are maybe on the UC side that need to get going with some licensing? We can administer all of that for you for free. And so we're really excited about that. I think some people look at that as I don't really need to maybe hire somebody back office to do a lot of that work in an IT department or hire somebody with that specific skill set. Now that company can now look at the value that Inflow provides and then use those dollars somewhere else. That's tremendous
Yeah.
value. So when they're sitting around and budgeting wise at the end of the year and they go, what's this line item from InflowCX? You have folks within the IT department saying, we need Inflow year in and year out. And then the
Yeah.
last part
Otherwise,
of, sorry, say that again, Austin.
yeah. No, I was just gonna say you could be you could either hire someone for that specifically, or you could be paying someone who's, I don't want to say above that, but really their skill set's way above that. That all of a sudden doesn't have to do that sort of mundane, menial thing. Like, let us do that. Sorry, support team, but let us do that. And you as a director or VP of IT, go focus on the stuff that you really need to be focused on.
Exactly. And you're leveraging people that are experts, right? This is what we do day in and day out, right?
Yeah.
So it's really cool. The last piece that kind of rounds out administration there is we have three different levels of packages that you can purchase between standard, premium, and elite. And not every slice is for everybody, right? We have some customers that say, I want you to do everything. And some people say, I just need some help on some of the stuff. But if you purchase one of our highest level packages, which is the elite package, we assign a primary point of contact. And what I mean by that is when you pick up the phone, we route your phone number to a assigned person, which means you're probably going to get that same person almost every single time unless they're on PTO or sick that day, right? Which
Oh
is a
wow.
really
Yeah.
great way to continue to build the relationship. So we're excited about that. So let me get into something that we've never been doing before. And this is
Okay.
kind of where how you started out the conversation was talk to me about those insights. And so what we developed were a way for our customers to feel real value of what the system is doing and what they're doing with us. And so the first thing I would say is we came up with a report called our customer account report. It's a little bit about how they're doing, what's going on when they open cases with us. So in the event that they can provide value is average time of case resolution. How are we doing with you guys? How many cases did we get escalate for you? How many cases have been open in this last quarter? How many calls have you come in? How many calls have come in from our portal? Just to see how you guys, work with us, what works for you. And then we also look at like top 3 case closure categories. What kind of tickets are you opening? Is it something that you need help on? Is it something that we could provide you a free training on so that you can say, yeah, I can stop opening those cases. This is really helping,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Average first time response so that you can see the value that we're providing you, how quickly we are. How many moves, adds, and changes are you doing? The one thing that we thought that was so important about telling people how many moves, adds, and changes they're doing is what if they're not doing any? And we can say, hey,
Yeah.
you can leverage us on this. And if they have a
Yeah.
ton, great. You are seeing the value. So we wanted to make sure that we called out how many moves, adds, and changes we're going to be doing with people. Um, we want to look at the longest case. What was our shortest case? And the last thing I would say is, did you call us for after hours for anything? How did that work? Was it somebody that resolved something for you that in an emergency? Maybe you didn't, but we wanted to make sure that we took a look at all of that. Now, one thing that we also added into Insights is what we're calling our new feature summary. All these manufacturers are coming out, excuse me, all of our manufacturers are coming out with new feature releases, if not weekly, monthly, or quarterly. And a lot of
Mhm.
customers, once they've been set up, they just kind of sit back and go, great, the system's working. But we don't want to just set it and forget it. What we want to do is
Yeah.
continue to provide overlaying features and say, have you taken a look at this? Have you taken a look at this new feature that's coming out? Or hey, this one is on the roadmap in 6 months. Let's put it in a sandbox for you and test it and see if this is something that you want to roll out when it does come out. So what we're going to do is then every quarter compile and kind of give them what I would consider more like cliff notes of what were the features that are important to me and my business, not just the product or the software, but what's important for that customer's business. So we're going to do that on a quarterly basis. We provide that information to the assigned CSM when they're handling those QBRs. And so they can go over not only those account reports that I was just mentioning, but also talk about feature releases for the customer to say, well, then how do I do that? So we just kind of want to keep the ball rolling, communication rolling, for them to understand and look at Inflow and say, wow, this wasn't just a set it and forget it and you don't provide a lot of managed services. This is an overlaying aspect of our managed services. And the last thing I'll round out with is what we call kind of our KPI review. And I know that there's a lot of people that probably hear that and say, well, I'm a supervisor. I know every aspect of my business. And you probably do. But we also have a lot of customers out there right now that may have gone over turnover or may have had somebody that left the company and doesn't know really well about contact center solutions or UC, right? And so we really wanted to put an opportunity for them to say, let's take advantage of, are you using all your licenses? What's your
Yeah.
abandon rate looks like? What's your average speed of answer for your customers? What's your hold time for your customers? And it might be just, let's tweak your flow. Let's take a look at that. But without that data, people are just going to sit back and say everything's working. It's not broken. Let's not fix it, right?
Yeah.
How many agent logins have you had? Are you using us for any of our projects that are going? And how are those projects going? So it's a good way for us to provide insights not from Inflow, but also from the customer, so that every quarter those CSMs, like I said, meeting with them on a QBR, have a really good understanding of how we're working for their business and how the technology is working for their business.
Wow. Yeah, that's really powerful. I know. And in my business, my small business that I own within Inflow, I really love having coaches and people that can say, "Hey, look, I know you know your stuff, and I know you know what you're doing, but here's maybe a blind spot or something that I noticed that you should probably take a closer look at." And so, effectively, with that last offering, sort of that KPI review, it's not saying, "Hey, contact center leader, you don't need to worry about this anymore," but it's just here's a second set of eyes that ultimately wants to help you achieve your end goal and accomplish all the things you're trying to accomplish, whatever those may be.
Yep, I agree.
That's really
I
great.
think it's,
That's awesome.
again, I'll say it one more time. It sounded like it wasn't something that was needed, and the more that we've discussed it, people are like, we need it. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's great. I know that when we talk about managed services, when we talk about customer success, when we talk about our service offerings, I think of Inflow as, we can help people evaluate, obviously help them evaluate technology. We've got other leaders I've talked to on the podcast before that can help them make really objective, data driven decisions. We talk about deployment, and I know that falls in your purview. And we've got a excellent deployment team that can help you make sure that not only have you picked the right technology, but that it is, you know, set up the right way. So you're not deployed and then like, wait a second, this is actually worse than what we had when we were on our old platform. What's going on here? But the last piece we talk about is optimization. And, you know, Tommy, one thing I want to ask is when you think about that word optimization, what does that mean to you?
I think that optimization is like a race car. And I've been watching a lot of F1 lately, and those guys will make the most minute changes to save milliseconds on laps. And I kind of looked at it the same way of what we're doing. Someone's cloud solution is like a race car, and you always kind of need to be putting optimization and fine tuning things so that it works well for the customer. What works well for one driver in F1 works different for another driver,
Yeah.
and what works really well for one customer may not work well for another customer. And so what we do is a very consultative approach to not only our implementation, but even at the time of implementation and they've gone live, it may not work for them anymore. It may have sounded great when we were designing their call flow. It may have worked for them when they were going through UAT or even post go live for a while. But as we've continued to put oversight and our insights and value adds and other things in it, we realized that we need to be able to do some short sprint, quick turnaround projects for customers. And that's when we really want to introduce our technical account team. And our technical account team, for me, I think is the epitome of optimization. It's an opportunity that after you've gone live or a net new logo for us that maybe we didn't implement, but has heard about our managed services, has heard about our deployment strategy and says, I need to be working with Inflow. What we do is we take them on and have a good understanding of everything that they're trying to accomplish. And maybe we need to fix their flow. Maybe they want to set up a chat bot. Maybe they don't want to set up an outbound campaign. Maybe that they purchased a base system and never had workforce management installed, or maybe it wasn't even installed correctly. So you can leverage the technical account team to come in and kind of optimize what they have going on in a quick, short sprint period of time. And what I mean by that is customers buy a block of hours. Some people purchase between 20 to 200 different hours. And we meet with the customer and their stakeholders once a month. And we say, what's your roadmap? What are you guys trying to accomplish? What are your frustrations? Bring in your supervisor of your contact center to come and sit with us and tell them, what's your pain points? Have you had a voice at the table yet? And everyone might say, yeah, it's great. And the supervisor might say, I need some help over here. Our abandon rate is out of control. Our technical account team will be able to do short, quick sprints with them anywhere between 4, 8, 16 hours and kind of get some small projects or what I would call like quick wins for those customers without having to go through in a huge sales cycle for them to scope things out, have this long drawn out situation. Now we can be leveraged as a part of their team. That's why we really called it the technical account team. We wanted them to look at us as another aspect of their business, not just another vendor. So when I think about optimization, I think our technical account team is something that's absolutely vital to a customer. Like I said, it's not every customer is the same, and we can't treat every customer the same.
Yeah,
But when we meet with them on a monthly basis, that stuff that kind of comes out and comes to the surface, I hope that the customer at the end of the day gets off that call and says, I feel really good about what we just got accomplished.
that's great. Yeah, and I've technical account people are probably familiar with that, right? Because you've had a technical account manager most likely, or at least know what that service is. And the difference here is that it's really taking it a step further and saying, hey, great, here are some things you want to accomplish. Technical account manager might stop there and say, all right, well, good luck. We'll check in again next month, next quarter, whatever, and let me know how those changes go. We're doing that actual work for you too. So you're not having to go, all right, great, I agree. All of these are things that we probably need to do, but how do I get resources and actually figure this out? We're optimizing your platform for you and doing so with the knowledge and use cases of the hundreds or dozens of other customers that are on your platform and work with our team.
You got it.
It's really great. Can you think of maybe one or two recent examples or stories where we've done something really cool for a business on the technical account team?
Yeah, not a problem. And in fact, I hear it all the time because our team gets fired up about it also. You'd be surprised that
Yeah.
you have engineers that they want to do work. They look at a customer system and say, I can fix that. Have you thought about it? And some customers at the time just needed to get up and going, right? They needed to maybe
Yeah.
they were up against a previous contract and they needed to move to a new solution. And so we had a short window, but now they can sit back and take advantage of everything that they wanted to do. So I'll just give a couple examples of some stuff that we've done recently. I would say, like chatbots. Everyone wants to know how to implement a chatbot to help, data gather, self-service, put something in front of that might help the agent before maybe they actually need to pick up the phone. It's really popular right now. Customers are wanting to know how to do that. And the other thing that I would say is we have some customers, like I said, that were net new logos to us that we didn't implement, but they're new to us. And so what we'll do is we'll
Mm-hmm.
do IVR reviews or workforce management reviews. We kind of take a peek under the hood and say, I don't know who built this, but this probably wasn't the best way that I would do it, or this isn't best practice. Nothing against them, but have you thought about it this way? Have you thought about how to, shorten the way that the call starts at the top and works its way through to your agent without doing that? And then there's also a lot of products that are out there for our what I would call like our ecosystem that we've tapped into. So some customers going to do their own research on their own and say, "Have you guys done this before?" And we said, "Yes, we have." Well, can you help me implement it? Yeah, we absolutely can. Let's use some of those technical account team hours to do that and take advantage of you looking at other technologies besides just the base system to optimize their offering.
Oh wow, that's great. So if I'm a contact center leader and I just took over a contact center and I go, all right, I wish I would have known how this setup was before I started, maybe before I agreed to this job, maybe would have negotiated a little higher salary. I could lean on info in theory to say, guys, can you fix this so I can finally sleep?
You got it. And I tell the team all the time, the one thing that you can do really well is make sure that that stakeholder you're working with gets the light shined on them, right? So we want to make them look good because they're a good customer of ours.
Yeah. Well, Tommy, this has been really great, man. I think what I would leave the audience with is, we help organizations consult around customer experience and contact center. And your team and what you and all of your direct and indirect reports do is just that, right? We try to make sure that our customers are having the best experience possible when working with Inflow, and at the same time making sure that when their customers, whether internal or external, are working with their contact center, that they're having a positive experience. So it's what we live and breathe. It's in our name, and your team is just so pivotal, and so great in what you guys do. We really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. And we're looking forward to 2023. We got a lot of momentum. We're really excited and fired up, as you can hear from my voice, on the managed services revamp that we put together. We think it's going to be a tremendous value add to what we do for not only Inflow as a business, but again, to our customers.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tommy. We appreciate it.